Okay, we have our audiences jumping in. In the meantime, we will just stay for the people to join in and then we'll begin. So, yes, guys, a very warm welcome and a huge, welcome to 2023. A very happy new year and a very, prosperous happy new year. I'm wishing to every single viewer of mine. So today's session is obviously a warm-up session. We will look to different assets. We will try to analyze it in the live market. And apart from that, I would like to wish uh, our live audiences. I would like to mention this that uh, if such videos we are making, if it receives the amount of praise that we have been getting, and if it increases, we are thinking of launching even more videos, even more audio visual content based on uh, technical analysis, based on fundamental analysis, news impact, daily updates, and stuff like that. So I really wish that our viewers are continuously, you know, uh, putting in the comments so that we are more visible to even more people, and a lot many people are getting aware about the financial education as we are, because financial education is the only education which, upon sharing, you know, it benefits the person who is sharing that. How is that? I will give you an example. So, especially talking about stock markets, you might have heard and you might have seen in multiple movies, like say for example, the all the movies related to 2008 financial crisis. You will notice that most of these movies uh, are showing some form of manipulation, word to word, form of marketing in order to push a stock's price. Yeah, right. So you might have seen a lot of movies where such things happen, where somebody starts a tip. Tip is called, is what it's called, and that tip will eventually land up in every person's ear, and that person will look forward to buying that stock or buying that particular commodity. And once the dust settles, we see in in the movies, and especially not only in the movies but also in the real market, where people buy on certain recommendations, and then it turns out to be completely opposite, and they have been trapped by multiple people. So yes, this is the only place where you will get a particular education, you will get that knowledge, and then if you are providing that knowledge to someone else, then that person is not becoming your adversary, right? He's not going to bet against you, especially when we are talking about technical analysis. If somebody knows technical analysis and he provides that information, say for example what we are learning here today, we are providing that information to you guys, and if you guys basically think that only I should know this knowledge so as to make profits on my own, that is the complex that many people have. I hope you guys don't have, and I also believe that you have been very very patient listeners, patient viewers as well. But most of the times the case is that many people don't want to share the knowledge that they have, because they think that if I'm making profits, then I should not share the technique to make profits, right? Yes, The Big Short is one of the movies, obviously one of the most fantastic movies that captures 2008 financial crisis. Yes. So the Big Shot is there. Then there is multiple movies. Margin Call is there. So many movies are have been made, especially on 2008 financial crisis, where a certain tip was floated in the air, and many people took that bit, and that was a huge trouble for them, right? Yeah. So many you can name hundreds of movies name, but the thing is the concept that these movies are based on is false marketing, is false to word marketing, tip marketing. These tip marketing marketers are absolutely fraud. Even if you get tip from Warren Buffett, you should be capable enough to recheck, fact check that particular tip, and work on your own instincts instead of you know working blindly. And some days back I was having this live, and one of our viewers, he presented one thought of his, that he was saying something about, I was explaining a very beginners level topic, and he was explaining that we should not concentrate on market dynamics. I was doing copy trading, he said. So copy trading is absolutely good for somebody who does this on you know on a algorithmic scale, right? On an algorithmic scale, if somebody is doing and you are copying that person, it is good. There are risk involved in that as well. But the problem here is what I'm trying to say is, if you're not able to understand that knowledge and you're not able to check that knowledge, then being an investor in the market is not for you, right? Even though it seems like a kind of a harsh statement, somebody might say, but it is the harsh reality, obviously. Apart from that, talking about technical analysis, it is the best knowledge that you can find anywhere on this planet about financial markets. Okay, and the good thing about technical analysis is that if you share technical analysis, let's say I have made one video on supports and resistances, right? And I've used certain concept in that. I've used certain theory. I've tried to explain it in simpler terms so that even a layman would understand, right? So that layman would not only understand that from the perspective of making profits, but also from understanding risks, right? And once he identifies an opportunity based on the knowledge that was provided by me in that video, right? So if he takes that you know information and knowledge, and he takes one opportunity, finds one opportunity based on that knowledge, that means one more person is trading with me, right? And in trading, everybody knows that volume is the king, right? So even if you are opposite everything else in this whole world, even if the fundamental analysis, the news, data analysis, everything says to short, and despite that fact, thousands and crores of people are buying that particular thing, okay? Say stock or any asset for that matter, commodity, a forex pair, whatever it is. If the volume is in that direction, nobody can stop that move, okay? Nobody can stop that move. That is what happens when big players, big institutions make their orders, right? And technical analysis is the way to organize retail investors. What I'm saying is will be a little bit vague to the beginner person, but it will make sense to those who have been dealing with the markets for a long time. Technical analysis is the way of organizing retail investors into one big entity, into a one big investor lobby, right? Because retail investors currently suffer a lot of troubles in the market, right? So if we are getting into a new year, we have to have this new perspective of acknowledging new information, getting that knowledge, you know and providing it and sharing that knowledge with everyone we hold dear, or with everyone possible, to be very frank. Because the more people will follow the same concept with you, that means the same thing they will also follow in order to trade, right? And that means if you are buying, then that person who has accumulated the same knowledge from your shared content that person will also take the same trade direction, right? This is how technical analysis works. Okay, technical analysis is not, you know, discrete. It is not segregated form of buying and selling of stocks and stuff like that. It is continuous development, right? Even in short quantities, thousands of people are buying. That makes a difference, right? So that is the agenda of sharing knowledge. That is the agenda of 2023, and I hope that we will be continuing this journey, and we will continuously work with it, right? So let us start our session, right? First, we will begin with the overall analysis of what happened in 2022 as such, of what was the impact of major news events, and later on we will see where the current situation is in certain markets, in certain pairs, in certain commodities, right? So I would just like to ask people who have joined in, and they have got a good opportunity to post their comments on the chat box. So let us see what kind of pairs you want to analyze today. Just put in the chat box, and we will keep it completely spontaneous, like we have been doing for a very long time. We'll completely keep it spontaneous, and whatever pair you think that is of worth to you, we will try to analyze it and try to make some sense out of it, right? It is the start of the week, obviously. Starting week of the 2023, we will obviously see that a lot of data will be coming out later in the week, especially the employment data of United States, and it will completely depend on where this particular employment labor market is. So that also needs to be the case, and that also needs to be in our minds that something big, you know, of news data is coming out. So we have to keep everything in mind. We have got our first suggestion in the form of gold, so we'll try to do that. Okay, so let us begin. Others who have been joining in, please post your favored or desired assets in the chat box. We will try to analyze all of this, and plus I have something in in my own mind that we will try to see, and we will try to make sense of that as well. And let us begin this journey. Let us begin 2023 with an outstanding, you know, and prosperous outlook. So let us see. Yes, I suppose everyone can see the screen. If not, if there is any trouble in seeing the screen or in my audio, any form of a technical issue, just post it on the chat box and I will know to solve it, right? So this is the chart for pound, right? So there are two trend lines that I've already made on this one, and let us see. Just remove everything, right? So I suppose everyone can see this, and we'll begin with GBP only. So GBP started its downtrending journey after ranging market somewhere in this particular direction, right? Let us do that as well. This was somewhat of a journey for GBP, you know, somewhat of a range it was following, and then there was some movement here, right? This is a movement of a double top, which we have covered previously on this live streaming sessions, right? So this was a proper double top, slightly falling double top, right? And we have seen that the downtrend started, because I've taken this trend line from here because the double top started from this particular position, right? So it started, the neckline was somewhere here, right? And this was the case. Finally, after reaching great depths, you know, after reaching almost parity with dollar, pound rebounded, and it just went up and up until we saw the breakout from the official trend line. and we saw this on 10th of November. If you know what happened on 10th of November, just post on the chat box. And okay, thank you. No troubles, that's fine. So, any questions? So, anybody who knows what happened on 10th of November, why is it very important from the perspective of 2022 financial markets? Just post it on the chat box. I just want to see how curious my audience is, right? So 10th of November we saw a breakout, and this breakout continued, and this range somewhat, which I just vaguely drawn. There is nothing to it, like there is no uh, emphasis on it, but still it felt somewhat of a resistance at this point, and then it started falling again. Today also we saw a good bearish day, right? This is the daily time frame, obviously, and today also we see that there is a bearish day. There is a short covering from here as well, so let us see how it turns out. This is the scenario of GBP USD, and this is how it has been currently. Where to How to look at this and how to make sense of it, obviously we will try to do some more, uh, you know incorporate more details into it so that we can see even better, right? So let's just remove every drawing so that we have the pure chart, and let us see if we can make some sense from Fibonacci, right? This is where we started our downtrend from, right? And this is the Fibonacci levels. So, oh my god, this is the trouble with the mouse, right? It just doesn't stick, and that is the trouble, right? So these are the levels that we can be sure of making some sense from these levels. Let us see what is happening. So we saw that it started uptrending from this particular point, right? It took a resistance just below this level, right? Again, it took a resistance on this level, and then it took a somewhat support on this from this level. Also, the supports are working here. Okay. Apart from that, there is a support line going on here. Just give me a moment. There is a proper, you know, uptrending line here on all these three supports. That means we have got a very good trend line as well for our reference, right? So these three supports were on this particular level. Then it went up, breached this. Look here also, it has got certain resistance, right? We are doing this purely price action. We are not going to follow any indicator, yet we are going to make a lot of sense from this particular analysis. Okay, so don't worry about it. We saw on 9th November a very huge bearish day, but then on the next day, 10th of November, what happened on 10th November? That is what my question is, right? So you guys need to know it. If you are closely following the markets, what happened on 10th of November? What happened on 20th of December? We must know all of these things, है ना? Just try to remember. At the end of the day, I will always uh, make you informed. So at the end of the video, we will just discuss that as well, right? So this is the scenario. Again, it took some resistance at this point. It breached and it took resistance support at this point. What is it called? If somebody knows the concept that a resistance is getting converted into a support, what is that called? You post it in the chat box. Okay. The question, I'm just posting it on the chat box so that those who are viewing this particular video as a recorded session, they might also feel the same form of curiosity as us. So let us just see. So I'll just pose the question: what is the phenomena? Okay, the question has been posted on the chat box for your reference. Just check that question. We'll continue. So it took support on this level, and then again it tried to breach this level, took a resistance here, then it breached, but the breaching was not very strong, okay, because this is upward covering na. This candle, if you look closely, the high was somewhere here but the close was here. That means people sold after this. So the breaching was not very strong. You would like to see such candle, the which is in red, that should be at this place, so that we can see yes, there has to be an upside after this. This was not a very strong candle. I suppose there is no issues. No, it is not called reversals. When a support becomes a resistance or a resistance becomes a support, just like we have seen here, na? The resistance has become, look here, the resistance here has become a support in the future. What is it called, right? I've explained this particular phenomena in detail in the video, I suppose, of supports and resistances. So if you're not very sure, you can go and watch that session as well. After that, we have seen a continuous downtrending movement, and why I had drawn this culminates into the current situation that we are having a support at 1.19484, right? Exactly here it has went down. Obviously, I would acknowledge this, but will it close below, right? That is the question. Now, if it closes below, that means it is a bearish signal, and if it continues to take a support at this line, that means yes, there is some form of a struggle left by the pound, and there might be an upside after this. Okay, but this is how everything culminates, right? Even if we are studying this from this particular point, the chart from this particular point, 26th of September, the knowledge that it provides is even valid on 3rd of January of the new year, right? So this is what it is. Yesterday there was very low volatility because a lot of countries had declared holidays, right? So there was a low volatility. Many of the people were not working. Trading institutions were closed. Obviously, then the volatility was very very low yesterday, if you saw, and today it has regained its position, right? And this is the scenario. Okay, so this is the scenario. If it takes a support at this position, you know what to do in this scenario, right? I don't have to suggest certain trading. I'm not giving trading signals here, obviously. That is not our agenda. The complete agenda is educational, right? And the educational agenda is that if it is on the support, and if it breaks the support, what we have to do, you already know, we have to short. And if it does not break the support, even if there is a wick, okay, this is a wick, even if there is a wick, role reversal phenomena, you are getting it, completely trying to uh, throw it on the chat box. Let us see if it is going to be the correct answer or not. Don't worry, Priyanka. I will tell you the exact answer. Just remind me once in the ending session. Okay. At the end of the session, just remind me once. Okay. I will tell you what that phenomena is called. So this is the scenario. If it takes a support, even if the wick is below is a long wick, in fact we need it to be a very long wick. Okay, which it is a fairly long wick. And if it takes support and starts the next day tomorrow and it goes up, that means there is a slightly bullish movement, okay, into this. So this is the scenario that we are looking at in the British pound, correct? Okay, so next, what do you want, guys? Let us take one of the suggestions that our viewers have posted, that is this particular asset, which is XAU USD, right? So let us not completely remove everything. Let us remove one by one. This is fine. So these are some levels that I might have drawn. Okay, this was the buying level from which you have to buy 1772. This, I suppose, in the previous session also, I had shown you these three levels. This was a level which has to be bought, and it went up, right? It's currently trading at 1834, right? So let us see what has happened to gold in the last year and where are we standing now. Okay, so last year we saw a very good position of shorting after it peaked in January, I suppose, in March, yeah. So it peaked. The gold peaked around highest 2070. So 2070 it peaked, and it started falling down after that, and it started falling down in a very very outstanding fashion, which is called a parallel range. It was following a parallel range, and if I am to draw this particular thing, this would look like this, right? And this is the scenario. It has again, if you will see, it has tried multiple times to reach out of the trading range, but it was not very successful in it, except for this day. Again, you have to guess which day it is. Okay, that I asked previously. It is the 10th of November, right? The 10th of November is here. 2 days ago, it breached completely the trend line, right? So 10th of November, 8th of November. What happened on 8th and 10th of November? That is also a question, right? To many of our viewers. In fact, we did that particular session na, when I told you what happened on 10th of November. No worries. So we will continue. So this is the scenario afterwards. Okay, now if you will see, you see that it is continuously going up. Even if this particular even if this session, these particular sessions look very choppy, right? These are very choppy sessions. Okay, one day you take your position and the other day it is gone. Okay, other day the stop loss is hit, or if one day if you're not covering intraday, then the next day your position is hit completely. That kind of a session was in this particular range. Now if I'm drawing this range, you will see that the low has taken support. Today's candle has taken support on the high on this particular day, right? So on the top level of this particular range, and is coming out of it, right? So this is the scenario of gold. That means it has some form of an upward movement right now. Let us draw some things and see what else can be said about it. There is an upside, but there can be a pullback as well. Okay, back into the range, it is possible because we are doing it on daily time frame. We are not very much sure, right? So to be sure, let us use one of the previously, you know, the previous session that we did on EMAs, right? We'll use only two EMA here, fast, medium, and slow. There has to be only one. So I told you about 7, 13, and if you need one more, then you can use 26. Okay, so this is the scenario. Let us just change it so that we will see better. Okay, thicken the line. Okay, let's choose this color. It is very better to completely see it. Now look at this. The short term. These all are short term exponential moving averages, right? So we will see that the exponential moving average, this fast exponential moving average, is still above this particular line. Okay, so no matter what, it is still following an uptrend until this fast moving average closes and makes a U-turn and crosses under this fast slower moving average. You can have positional buying positions, right? Positional buying positions. Now this might sound a little bit tricky, but obviously those who know, right? This is the scenario on a daily time frame. If you guys want an intraday structure of this particular asset, post it on the chat box, right? If you need to do an intraday analysis, right? Apart from that, let us go back. Let us see another very interesting, especially my favorite pair for 2022 that I have elected. You know, I have to give this award to the one and only USD JPY, right? I've done a lot of research on this one as well. So let us just remove everything. We will try to do completely, anew. We will try to make it from scratch so that you know my thought process, right? What I think before doing anything, right? So this is the scenario. Okay. So this is the scenario. This is the USD JPY, and it started uptrending from March, if I'm not wrong. It broke this particular range. If you are able to see, this is almost a triangle formation. I will show you how it is a triangle, right? This is the upper, limit of the triangle, and this is the lower upside, right? So this is almost a triangle formation, right? And it broke very successfully on this day, that is 11th of March, right? 11th of March it started uptrending, and the pair did not see a bad day of trading, I would say, from my perspective. Every single day was outstanding if you traded in USD JPY. It was always, worthwhile to waste your money on such a pair, right? Waste your money or risk your money. Those two lessons one has to learn. Okay, whether you are wasting your money or whether you are risking your money. Risking your money is very good. Wasting your money is very wrong. So USD JPY, those who knew what will happen in the market, they were actually making sense and they will actually making money as well, right? We'll update our trend line because this low was broken and still there was the uptrend was continuing. Look at this. Okay, so the trend line was broken, yet it was continuing to be an uptrend, right? So we'll just put it up here. Okay, and let's see what happened then. Not on this one, but on this candle because this candle is better. Now I already told you that if the wicks go down under the trend line that you have made, it makes sense. Don't worry about it. Okay, it makes sense. If the wicks are below, don't worry about it. Your trend line is perfect if it is following other rules. Okay, and that I suppose it was my first session only when we made a trend line and I told you what rules to be followed while making such a trend line, right? I see no other options, no other preferences of our viewers to be analyzing today. So I would just remind you all that if you want a particular asset to be analyzed today, otherwise I will keep on going from my perspective. It won't be from your perspective, right? So just post it on the chat box so that I know which assets to follow, right? Again, this one was quite interesting. Upside was still intact until certain days, right? Until certain days came, until certain news came, right? And the final blow was on 10th of November, right? And the 10th of November, we see a huge shorting day for USD JPY. But somehow it ended up covering all the way to the trend line, but it was still below the trend line. The next day, a red candle, a complete short position has been made. Because this is a daily candle, you have to keep your stop loss here, right? So it does not get hit. The next days, we saw certain upside, but this trend line has converted from a support position. This trend line has been converted from a support to a resistance here, right? Support has been converted into a resistance. Now look at this, how well this resistance has worked. Again, it started falling after touching the trend line, right? But this was also, uh, you know, uh, indicated previously on these days only in November, only in November, I suppose ending November, right? I had highlighted this fact that it has touched the trend line and it will go down, right? It will continue going down. Everything was educational for very obvious reasons, right? Next, we saw it has continued going down, right? Now, if you see closely, I will just show you. Give me a moment. path is here, no? Yeah. So if you see closely, it is making somewhat of a zigzag pattern, right? The zigzag pattern, right? Making highs, lows, right? New highs, new lows, kind of thing, huh? So what does it suggest? What does it suggest? It suggests that the downtrend is intact, but it is following a range, right? The downtrend is following a range. So let us make a range for our reference, right? On the daily time frame. Okay. I suppose the audio is fine and the video is fine as well. If there is any problems, let me know in the chat box, because I had asked some questions and you guys are not posted any preferences that you might have. No worries. Let us continue. So this is the scenario. Let me show you one secret, right? This is the secret right here. Okay, for USD JPY. And if you follow this secret, you will make sense of the markets before others do, right? It is following a downtrending channel completely. Okay, so if we just push it back a little bit, it remains the same. Now look at this. It is following a parallel channel downwards. Now this downwards is going to continue, right, in a zigzag pattern. All of these levels are for our reference, and these references are completely educational, for education purposes only, right? Apart from that, we see that there's some data coming out on 4th of January, that is tomorrow, the ISM manufacturing, PMI, and the job openings by Jolts, right? Then day after tomorrow we have got FOMC minutes. What will happen? What kind of comments will be made by Fed, and what kind of impact it will have? We are going to obviously see that as well, right? So we might see that there is a dovish kind of a statement made by the Fed, and it will continue to rupture the USD JPY. Previously, I suppose I had told guys that 135 might be in the previous session, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I remember now. So 135, somewhat around 135 will be a resistance, right? Let us draw it somewhere at this point. Yeah, 135 will be a resistance, a good ceiling level, I would say, right? And if it breaks this, if it continues to go down, it will obviously continue to go down. 133, 132 was somewhat of a shorting level that I provided. So you can go and check on our Telegram channel for such information. Okay, I do it completely for education purposes. So you will see that it is in the form of article, but it will give you certain ideas. It will give you certain opportunities to work in the market, right? So you have to look closely, and these were some of the suggested levels, I suppose. It is covering and it is going down, obviously, and it has gone down. Today we see a very good covering candle. Okay, what is covering candle? I have not told. I suppose many people might be wondering what is covering candle. Covering candle is when this particular candle has gone all the way down, but then people started buying. Okay, and when people started buying, the price went up, right? That is the whole idea of the gravestone and the rocket doji that I previously told you guys, right? So if you don't have that information, you can go and check the Japanese candlestick wala session, right? So we saw one rocket doji, one dragonfly doji, and another was gravestone doji. So all these are dojis basically. Today also we see a doji only, but this is an upside doji, right? The covering is green, right? So there might be an upside, a small upside, and then it will continue to go down. The first resistance will be this level, this reference, the middle line, and the second one will be this. Okay, so this is the scenario that we have in front of us for dollar against yen. Okay, let us continue with one of the outstanding instruments that we have in the market, right? And that is S&P 500. Before doing anything, I'll just try to uh, hide everything. Okay, now this is very straightforward. Okay, the whole scenario of S&P 500 was downwards. If you put in, let us see this particular thing. So in 2022, S&P 500 has come down nearly 20%, 19.4% in 2022, which is huge for an index of United States, right? Despite a lot of factors, we have seen a continuous decline in the index. Now, when we will see it closely on the daily time frame, you see that there is almost a rounded top formation. Now, this is completely, uh, idealistic situation of a rounded top, but just consider it for some time. Okay, this is a very long term position, right? Long term positions only. Just consider how it might act as a reference, right? How it might act as a reference. So this was the scenario, upside, downside, whatever it is. Now it is converted into a rounded top, and rounded top will always continue going down. But that will not be the case because these levels are very low, 20,000, 2,200, I suppose. So that won't be the case in the long term. But this is the case in the long term when we are looking at this particular trend lines, these two trend lines that I had drawn. This is a continuous falling channel, right? It's not exactly a channel but a funnel. Okay, this is a funnel and it is completely going down. Let us see how it has acted throughout the year. It went up, it has created one channel. Okay, this is one channel. Then it went up, it respected and made one trend line here. At this point, one trend line is made, this one. Then it went down and it respected these two touch points wala trend line here. It respected the trend line, went again up. And how precisely this is working, it is just, it doesn't make sense to me after all these years. It doesn't make sense to me as well. It is fascinating to me as well. Now, again it respected this trend line. Again it went down, but it did not go all the way down till this point, right? It should have gone all the way down to this point. It should have at least, but it didn't. So there was an upside pressure from this particular area, and this is October, right? October 2022. There was an upside pressure, and this pressure has resulted into again hitting the trend line. And on December 13th of the last year, we have seen a very half-hearted attempt at breaking the trend line. This one, this candle, a very half-hearted attempt. And I suppose everything is going fine. The audio and the video is okay. If not, because there has been no suggestions on the chat box. So let us see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot this. Really went out of my mind. No worries. So yeah, this is the situation. And currently it is trying very hard to be upside only. Okay. But it doesn't feel like it, na? Until and unless this range is broken out of, it doesn't make sense, right, for us to take a decision. It still is in the range, right? So this is the scenario of S&P 500, an outstanding index, to work in and to understand, because from the perspective of financial education, such indexes are give us an insight into an whole economy, right? So this is very important to understand. S&P 500 in a funnel falling, and this is the scenario, right? These are not mere lines. These trend lines are very important points of references. Okay. And anyone would say that these are not intraday references. Yes, there would be intraday references when you are trading on this day, 1st of December, or this day if it has closed. below this particular position, 13th of December. Yes, you might incur losses if you take a buy position looking at the upside, but who told you to take a buy position? It has to close first here, and then a new candle should form somewhere here. Then you are confirmed to buy. But if you are taking intraday positions, this serves as a point of reference, and this is a fantastic point of reference. Okay, nobody can deny the importance of such a point of reference, right? So this is the scenario, more of a trend line of reference, not a point of reference. But still, yeah. Another thing that we have seen is the Nasdaq. Still, it is one of the indexes that many people work in, many people are interested in, right? They follow US stocks, they follow technological stocks very much. They love trading in tech stocks, and especially as the youth become more and more aware about the financial markets, and they become aware that they can have a stake, they can have a share in their favorite tech companies like Apple, like Google, like not Google but Alphabet, and then there is Tesla and all that. So you see that such a scenario is created that we need to know about certain indexes. This has been the scenario for Nasdaq. Again, you will see that the price chart is very clearly downtrending, even though it might not seem such a downtrend, such a huge downtrend. But if we see, then it is visible. Let it update. Wi-Fi has got certain problems. Okay, this has up. Let us continue. Right. So if we see what Nasdaq has been up to the whole year, right? So it has been 33% down the whole year. So this has been the scenario. Now the question is not 33%. The question is this candle. So it ate up. Okay, just give me some moment because there will be some audio. Okay, there was certain issues in the internet. I sorted it out. Let us just continue. Okay, so we were analyzing the Nasdaq, which is 33% down in the last year. I suppose now it is visible and audible as well. Okay, if there is any issues that is persisting, let me know in the chat box. Okay, so this is the scenario. Now the problem is not 33%. The problem is not downwards. Okay, the problem is that it has eaten up the whole gains of the last to last year, right? That is 2021. Whatever gains it made in 2021 has been completely eaten up in the next years. That is the last years completely. It has eaten up this particular gains. It has not only eaten these gains, but has all went even a step further. It went all the way and pierced half, almost half of this 2022 scandal, 2020 scandal, right? So this is the scenario. This is the extent to which the damage has been done. Right? This is such huge damage. Okay, this is not just a normal 33% down. That happens, but these two gains have been completely compromised here. Now the problem with this is, if it would have been a ranging market, right? Let me show you. If the candles were somewhere here, let's say, right? The candles were here, it went all the way up to this point, and then it ate up this particular position. Then it would have been okay because it is a ranging market. It happens, okay. But the situation was, it is completely uptrending for now. It has seen 3 years of consecutive uprise, right? The movement was like this. It has never achieved all these levels. These are all the high levels, okay, all time highs. And now it has seen such a huge downturn, and still there was an opening somewhere around 11,035, and the market is continuing to be bearish. So on a scale of long term analysis, this is still appearing to be bearish, okay, because of a lot of factors, because of evaluation factors we saw. I will show you one of the stocks of which is included in Nasdaq 100. So if you use that one, then there is a complete confirmation as to why it is happening. Okay, why it has happened, because such huge downfalls in tech stocks has resulted into Nasdaq also going down, all the way down, right? So let us see one of the stocks that is almost like fan favorite, that is doing absolutely horrible on the charts, and many people, who loved this particular company, are now rethinking their economic decisions, right? Let us see this one, Nasdaq. The data is still a little bit slow to fetch. Okay, all the way. Although this will make sense, right? This makes sense, and it will, I suppose, continue. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. So this is again the yearly time frame. Look at this candle. Okay, just of a single stock, we just seen an dramatic rise. This these 2 years has seen a dramatic rise in this stock. Okay, first, almost 743% of rise. This is crazy. Okay, this is almost crazy. This is how, I don't want to say it because this company holds a reputation, and this company has been working positively in the sector, in the automobile sector. But this the chart looks as if it is a penny stock. Okay, yes, it I have said it out. Okay, but I have nothing to accuse the whole thing of, the whole company against, and nothing against these guys. They have been doing absolutely phenomenal work. But this looks like a penny stocks chart. Yes. And this is what has happened of a penny stock. It has went all the way down. What an outstanding, uh, you know, distribution has happened. What an outstanding distribution. Those who would like to sell at such high levels, 389, inflated levels, completely over and above the evaluations, over and above everything. Okay, it has gone all the way down, right? So this is the scenario. Thank you very much, Vishal. I hope you like it. I hope you understand something out of it. Yes, this is the scenario. How it can be? It is not possible for a stock to go 743%. The valuation should also support that particular thing. Again, the next year we saw almost 50% rise. Now this year 65% rise, decline. And this is not 65% decline because of the base, because of the base effect. This is only showing 65% decline, but the decline is actual decline is way more devastating, I would say, right? This is a devastating decline. Okay, although it will start in some time, the new year trading will start in some time, but this is just not uh, you know acceptable, right? So stay away, sir, from such immature stocks which are not mature. Okay, which have not matured enough in the market, those who have been hyped up completely. Okay, these are all hype based stocks. Don't fall into these traps. Okay, even if people say 1,000 good things about a stock, don't run around throwing your money everywhere. So this is the scenario. Very important lesson that we learn from this stock. Although I have nothing against this stock, okay, the valuations might be good or might not be good. I don't care. What the price chart is telling me is what I believe the truth is. Right? This is the truth, and I have shown it to you. If you have certain other reservations, you might go with it. Don't worry. Yeah. So another Nasdaq we have completed. I would like to just show you one interesting case study that I was just learning the other day. So let us see this one. There it is. It's not visible here. Right? Base 100, yeah, base 100. Okay. Yeah. Now this is a this is a stock index. Okay, this is stock index. Just if anybody knows the stock index by the name of BIST, we post it in the chat box of which particular country this stock index is. If somebody knows this, I really would appreciate that that person is a really informed trader, right? So just put it on the chat box if you know. Even after googling, if you're putting the answer on the chat box, no worries. But this is the scenario. What an outstanding rise, right? That might be the case because just now I have told that this is the example of a penny stock. Almost the same I'm showing it to you here, right? Almost the same thing. The rise is 200%, 196.5% rise, right? Over 1 year. 1 year, 196.57% rise, right? The next year has started and it's already in green, right? Now look at this. Why I'm showing this to you. The price was already nearly on 1800 levels. Then it started punching up like anything, right? Let us see the daily time frame. Now you will look at this chart, and you will feel very happy. If you are a trader, you'll feel just an internal happiness because we don't see such charts very often, right? This is this scenario, and look at this scenario. If you are drawing a trend line, right, it has been completely steep upstanding. It looks almost like Himalaya, right? Such a steep trend line, not to be trusted, but still it is working. That is the interesting part about it. This still working. That is the interesting part. Nobody has answered, I suppose, which particular country's stock index this is. I suppose our 1 hour is up, but because some of it was lost due to some internet problems, I'll just take 3 or 4 more minutes and we will wind up our today's session. Look at this. It is just not making sense to me, and it went all the way. Okay. So the answer for this particular stock index is Turkey. Okay. Best is the uh, stock exchange company of Turkey, right? Now you will see a continuous rise. Now the case study here is, let us look at the Turkey's currency, that is lira, Turkish lira. Let us look at this. Look at the Turkish lira. Lira. Does it make sense? Now does it make sense? Right? It has completely been doused and it is extremely red. Okay. This is a yearly chart. Huh? This is a yearly chart. Look at this, how it is going on. Look at this, how it is continuing. For many years, it has been like this. It is continuously going down. We have to, we can't even see anything green in this particular chart, right? You can't even see anything green except for when we zoom in completely. It is almost in the floor. It is almost in the ground, right? 0.05 against United States dollar. It is nothing, right? There is a continuous pressure on this particular currency due to some factors. We will not try to discover those factors. The technical, technical case study is enough. Now this is the scenario. What has been working continuously. It has been deprived. The 2022, we saw nearly 30% further decline of this currency, and this is the scenario. And the same things of the stock exchange. The stock exchange was completely going up. Where is it? 100. This 100. There is one. It is completely up. Turkey, right? So this is the scenario. This is the relation between the currency is completely going down, but the companies are working and the companies are having good valuations. That is why people are buying, because the currency is also cheap, right? So such ideas, such trading ideas is what makes, yes, very good. Turkey, somebody has answered. Maybe so Turkey is the correct answer. So this is the case study that I was talking about. The currency is cheap, the valuations of the companies in this particular country are good, then it works. People buy, and the chart goes on looking like this. There is logic behind this surprise. That is what my point is. There is logic behind this rise, and it is making 100% sense. So this is the scenario. This was completely educational, and you have been an outstanding audience. Thank you very much. Yes, everyone now knows that this is Turkey. Actually, there is a lag between my voice coming to you, and then there is a bit of a lag, like 10-20 seconds lag. So what I am saying currently, that you will hear after 20-30 seconds. So this is the scenario. I suppose you have answered previously only. Turkey is the correct answer. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for being here. Our time is up, and I will see you in the next session. Also, one important information, the next session is going to be in Hindi, okay, and that will be about the indicators only that we did previously in English only, okay. Those who have had certain discussions, certain reservations that they didn't understand in English, we will try to cover all these things in the next session in Hindi language. So, see you all then. Okay. Thank you very much for being patient listeners, and I wish you a very prosperous new year. Thank you very much and happy trading.